with an announced retirement match and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Talking about Jon Moxley's run in WWE, William Regal said on his podcast that I wasn't on the main roster in the last whatever amount of years he was there, but he's got an incredible ability to do entertaining stuff, and I hope one day, instead of looking at it as a bad thing, he realizes how good that is, because he did that. If you look at that, that's sports entertainment at its best. I know he's somewhat anti-WWE at the moment, and he has been for a while, but he was so good at that stuff. He wants to be a whatever style of wrestler he is. I've personally found when I do autograph signings, the things that people remember me for, and not all the wrestling I've done. It's the entertainment I've done. So I hope he one day realizes how good he is at that and opens up a little bit more to that and realizes what incredible things that he did in WWE. Speaking of Fightful, former WCW executive Eric Bischoff touched on the emphasis of the in-ring action in pro wrestling and how storytelling is sacrificed. What's changed? I think the emphasis on physical performance is much greater than it was in the past, which I think is great. However, character and story have suffered, so there's so much emphasis put on high-flying, super athletic, holy or this is awesome. Try to get that chant and that's cool, and I get it, and it's fun. But when you sacrifice story and characters in order to achieve that, I think it hurts the product in the long run. I think that's one of the things it's suffering from now. Now, do I get mad about it? I don't really care. I just notice it. I'm not in the business anymore, so I don't, as we say in the sticks, have a dog in that hunt, but it's obvious to me. When it comes to AEW's plans after William Regal helped MJF in defeating Jon Moxley for the AEW title at Full Gear, F4W Online reported that the main event finish with William Regal handing MJF brass knucks was Tony Khan's idea, and you can look back at the last several weeks of the build-up and see the signs leading to it. It appears from the press conference that MJF and Regal will be a heel champion pairing, not unlike Kenny Omega and Don Callis. Recalling her run as Miro's manager in WWE, Lana told Wrestling Inc. that Vince McMahon did not want her paired with her husband. But I feel like if I'm able to, it's just the right story. And I want to create something that becomes undeniably undeniable and has to be brought in even if people are hesitant. And I think with a lot of us, women of my generation and younger being in manager roles, we are literally changing the game as we go. Because 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even Triple H was giving women a lot of opportunities in the space of being a manager. But Vince was a little bit more traditional. And he almost didn't want me to be paired with Miro because he's like, a hot girl can't be with a heel guy or he'll get cheered. And it's like, well, why can't you be hot and evil? This is for what? I don't understand. There's a bunch of people like that in real life. Why can't we do that? With Jason David Frank, known for his roles in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, recently passing, many in the wrestling world would react to this news. As Xavier Woods wrote, "Welcome to the news that Jason David Frank has passed away. As the Green and White Ranger, he had a huge impact on my childhood. When I finally got the chance to meet him, he was always kind to me. Really gonna miss him." Johnny Gargano tweeted, "The news about Jason David Frank is absolutely heartbreaking, man. Before pro wrestling, Power Rangers was my everything when I was little, and Tommy Oliver was my hero. I wore my Green and White Ranger costume that my mom made me and pretended to be him literally every day." And Matt Cardona would write, "Rest in peace. As a kid, I thought I was too old for Power Rangers, but I still watched the show and played with my younger brother's figures. I was fortunate to become friendly with Jason over the years, as so many have because he was so friendly and cool." With some thinking CM Punk may return to WWE following his potential contract buyout from AEW, Ric Flair discussed a comeback match for him at WrestleMania, saying on his podcast, "For Steve Austin to put on the tights and go out there and wrestle with Stone Cold, he'll take a lot of pride in himself because he's a man's man. He always stays in good shape. I mean, his body's still great. He looks good. Knowing his ego and knowing who he is, he'll want to be Stone Cold. If you wrestled CM Punk, you need to beat him in 30 seconds. So that's not the answer. Stone Cold Steve Austin and CM Punk? Come on, give me a break. You can't even mention their name in the same breath. Please, The Rock and him? I don't know. They could look at each other and be just a question of who's doing the favor because they're not going to wrestle for an hour. John Cena, I like that idea too, but it's like we talked about with The Rock. The decision was made sooner than we know about it because if Steve's getting ready to wrestle a real match, real time in LA, it's going to be damn good. But come on. I don't mean this bad, but CM Punk just can't act like he acts in one company and go to the other, and act like that and come over and expect to be in the main events. If he was in the main event of WrestleMania, you would have a riot in the locker room. Think about it. He didn't leave on good terms. He didn't leave the other place, AEW, on good terms. It's not about his ability. I'm just talking about that I can't even fathom WWE even entertaining bringing a guy in that would be putting him ahead of AJ Styles, Randy Orton. You could have Steve wrestle either one of those guys. If Steve can work, if his neck is okay, Steve is a working fool. He could wrestle Randy. You'd have guys jumping off the roof if you brought Punk in there and threw him in the main event of WrestleMania. Speaking about her husband's recovery, Brandi Rhodes told Steve Fall of 10 Count that Cody is focused on making his return to WWE. He needs to wrestle. It's in his blood. It's part of his makeup. But now he's been great through all of this. All the work that he's been doing to get back has been really good. I went with him to his physical therapist yesterday to finally see, because he's been ragging on me the entire time. You haven't come. You haven't come. You have to come. So I'm like, okay, I'm coming to see. I was really just impressed with how he looks now. He doesn't look like anything happened, which is crazy because he had major surgery. So he looks like the same Cody to me. The muscle mass is all there, he looks ready to me, but I'm not a doctor. Recalling how he could have signed with AEW, Nick Aldis told Wrestling Inc. that, well, I thought that it was well known at this point that I had talked to AEW CEO Tony Khan very early on, and there's a lot more to it than people know. Essentially, I wanted to go, but I also wanted to wait until I had got the NWA to a point where I felt like they could function effectively. And by the time that came around, again, the relationship between Tony and Billy had changed, and I probably should have reached out sooner and had my own direct communication instead of trusting what was being told to me about what was potentially coming up down the road. I'll just say that. Touching on Logan Paul's performance at Crown Jewel against Roman Reigns, Kevin Nash said on his podcast, I did get a chance to watch Reigns versus the Paul kid from Saudi Arabia. I did get a chance to watch that. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna get browbeaten because God forbid if Kevin Nash was to let anybody that wasn't 9 feet tall wrestle. I didn't realize Logan Paul was that small. He was noticeably smaller than Roman Reigns. The kid's talented. From what I can understand, he got a crash course from HBK. Look at the size of Roman's head next to his. That's the size of a man. He can have an 11-inch penis, but it's like a number 2 pencil. That's one thing. But if it's got a head like a softball, you're still gonna be the man. That looks like Hunter working against me size-wise. Mentioning his deal with AEW, Bryan Danielson revealed his plans for after his contract with the company expires. No, I don't have a dream match scenario for my final match. I would like to wrestle a match 2 weeks before I die, right? And to not know that it's my last match. That would kind of be my ideal situation, but I'm not going to be a full-time wrestler for much longer. That all said, I'm not going to be a full-time wrestler for much longer. When my AEW contract is up, that's pretty much me being done being a full-time wrestler, but I like the way some people like Terry Funk and Jerry Lawler and those kinds of guys do it. But they do it for fun, right? And don't do it all the time. They do it here or there, that sort of thing. But as long as I have fun doing it, and as long as I experience joy doing it, it's something I want to continue doing for the rest of my life. Now, I wish my passion was something that didn't cause me as much physical pain, because for sure, if I was really gonna play the guitar, which I could be if I put enough effort into it, and if it brought me that kind of passion, I could be playing music or whatever literally the day before I die or whatever it is. But as it is right now, it'd probably have to be like at least 2 weeks, if not a little bit before the day that I die. But one of the things that was really brought to my attention when I was forced to retire was that you never know when your last match is gonna be. The last match that I had before was forced to retire. I didn't know that was gonna be my last match, right? And then it was, and I didn't know it was gonna be my last match until 2 months later when they were like, okay, yeah, I don't think we're gonna let you come back. And then it turned out to not be my last match. So I went for years thinking that was gonna be my last match, and then it wasn't, and so, but just to be grateful. And then you can even extrapolate that too. You don't know when the last time you're going to see your kids is. I saw my kids on Tuesday, and there's a chance if something happens to me, I may never see them again, right? And all that does, rather than be morbid about it, to not take things for granted. But every time that I get a chance to wrestle, it's beautiful. And every time that I get to wake up with my kids and make them breakfast and put them to bed at night is beautiful too. And you can even extrapolate that to each individual breath. In its own way is beautiful and different. I don't have any vision of what I want my last match to be. I certainly don't envision it being some epic match that everybody talks about. In my mind, it would be a match that I would just be doing at some local indie in front of 300 people that are just like, okay, I'm just going out and having some fun, and it just turns out to be my last match. So that's kind of how I envision it. Taking to Instagram, Jamie Noble would announce his final pro wrestling match as he wrote, "It's official. On December 11th at the Charleston Civic Center, I will compete for possibly my last time in wrestling under the greatest company of all time, WWE. It's been roughly 11 years since I was forced out of the ring. Now I'm going to have one more opportunity in front of my people, my state, my family. I promise you, I will walk out a winner, or I will go out on my shield giving the best performance I can give. All the support I can get will so greatly be appreciated to show that I can still go. Thank you all. God bless you, and God bless West Virginia." And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.